Life sometimes takes unexpected turns that we never saw coming. One moment, everything is going smoothly, and the next, you realize you're standing amidst the ruins of what once was yours. But the interesting part of my story is this: it wasn't the job I lost that made me feel lost, it was the realization of what I had to learn about myself, my family, and the truth behind the concept of success. I had worked hard all my life. My job was everything to me. I was proud of the work I had, the stability I had built for my family, and the future I thought I was securing. But then, just in one moment, everything was gone. One email, one meeting, one decision, everything I knew, everything I had worked for, vanished in an instant. And that wasn't the worst part. I thought I could lean on my family. I thought that my son, whom I raised to believe in hard work, would understand. But instead of the support I expected, I was met with anger, frustration, and a heartbreaking demand to leave. He didn't realize at that time, but I wasn't the person he thought I was. That day, I packed my things and left. But what my son didn't realize was this: I wasn't as powerless as he thought. In fact, I had something far more valuable than a paycheck: freedom. Freedom to redefine myself, to step away from the corporate world, and to find a new path that didn't rely on titles or office hours. And here's the kicker: what he didn't know was that I was actually wealthier than ever before. Today, I'm sharing this story not because I want sympathy, but because I want you to realize something important. It's not the jobs we lose that define us, it's what we do with the space left behind. What do we learn when everything we thought we knew about success is turned upside down? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll realize that losing everything can sometimes mean gaining everything you ever needed. After I lost my job, everything in my life seemed to fall apart. It wasn't just about the paycheck. It was about the sense of stability and identity that came with it. I'm sure many of you can relate. Whether it was losing a job, going through a major life change, or even facing a shift in relationships, it's easy to feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. Like everything you've worked for is suddenly meaningless. But here's the most important thing I want you to understand: it's not about what you lose, it's about what you choose to do with that loss. When I first lost my job, I didn't see it as an opportunity. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I had spent years working towards something I thought was secure. I worked hard to climb the corporate ladder, to provide for my family, to build a life that seemed unshakable. But in one instant, everything changed. One email, one phone call, one decision, and my whole career came crashing down. At first, I felt like I had lost everything. My job was not just a source of income. It was a huge part of my identity. The fear of the unknown crept in, and I started questioning everything about my future. But then, something else happened. I realized that the job I had lost wasn't everything. It was important, yes, but it didn't define me. And in that moment, I began to understand something that I had overlooked for years. The true measure of wealth doesn't come from a paycheck, but from the ability to choose your own path and control your own time. The hardest part of this entire experience wasn't just losing my job, it was the way it affected my family. Especially my son. When I told him what happened, I expected understanding, support, and maybe even some sympathy. But instead, I was met with frustration, disappointment, and anger. It wasn't the reaction I had hoped for. In fact, it was the last thing I expected from him. My son, who I had always taught to work hard and be independent, didn't seem to understand why I wasn't immediately going out to find another job. He didn't realize that I wasn't just looking for another paycheck. I was looking for something deeper, meaning. I wanted to know who I was beyond the corporate world. And for the first time in a long time, I had the space to explore that. But instead of offering support, my son pushed me away. He said, "I can't have you living here like this. You need to figure it out. You need to move on." It wasn't a request, it was a demand. And as painful as it was, I packed my bags and left. I didn't argue, I didn't fight it, I just left. As I walked out the door, something changed within me. It wasn't about what I had lost anymore, it was about what I could gain from this moment. And what I discovered in the months that followed would change my life forever. What my son didn't know, and what I had failed to share with him, was that I wasn't struggling. I wasn't lost. In fact, I had something far more valuable than a paycheck. I had freedom. I had the freedom to choose my own path, to step out of the corporate world and find something more meaningful. I could work at my own pace, explore new opportunities, and focus on the things that truly mattered to me. What I didn't realize, until I had the time to reflect, was that I had already been building a future that didn't rely on a traditional job. Over the years, I had made small but smart investments, stocks, real estate, and other passive income sources. These investments weren't the kind of thing you would talk about over dinner. But they had been growing quietly in the background. And now, they were supporting me in ways I hadn't fully appreciated at the time. As I spent more time reflecting on my situation, I realized something important. I wasn't as dependent on a job as I had believed. In fact, my financial situation had improved, not worsened. My investments had grown, and my passive income was greater than the salary I had once earned. I didn't need to jump back into the corporate world. I had already set myself up for something far greater, a life of freedom, peace, and financial independence. During this time, I began to focus on things I had always been passionate about but never had the time to pursue. I spent time learning new skills, reading, writing, and even exploring hobbies I had put off for years. My life became less about paying bills and chasing promotions, and more about self-fulfillment and exploring what truly brought me joy. Cut to you looking at financial reports, checking investments, and smiling with satisfaction. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that my son's reaction, though painful, had actually been a blessing in disguise. It pushed me to step out of my comfort zone, to reassess my life and redefine what success meant to me. I didn't need to follow the same path I had been on. I didn't need to cling to the traditional idea of success. And most importantly, I didn't need to rely on anyone else's expectations of me. When I finally spoke to my son again, it was with a new sense of perspective. I explained to him how the past few months had transformed my life. I shared with him how I had discovered my true wealth, not in terms of money, but in the freedom and time I had to live life on my own terms. At first, he was skeptical. He couldn't quite grasp the idea that I had been thriving, not just surviving. But over time, he began to understand. He apologized for pushing me away. He realized that my journey had taught us both something valuable. True wealth isn't about the money you make, it's about how you use your time and what you choose to value in life. It's about being able to choose the path that truly brings you fulfillment, not just security. Looking back, losing my job wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where I finally understood what it meant to be free. I realized that I could live a life that wasn't defined by a paycheck or a job title, but by the choices I made and the passions I pursued. And in that moment, I understood that the greatest wealth anyone can have is the freedom to live their life on their own terms. Pause for effect. Speaking directly to the camera. So, if you're going through a tough time right now, I want you to remember this. Setbacks aren't the end of your story. They're just opportunities for you to find a new path, a new beginning. Sometimes, the hardest moments can lead to the greatest growth. It's not about what you've lost, it's about what you choose to do with what you have left. And you always have a choice. Finally, I want to share something important with you. Life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes, everything falls apart, and we're left wondering how we'll get through it. But what I've learned is that every setback is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become a stronger version of ourselves. I spent years chasing a career, thinking that my job defined who I was, thinking my worth was tied to my paycheck. And yes, losing my job was a wake-up call. But it wasn't the end of my journey. In fact, it was the beginning of something even better, a chance to reclaim my time, to focus on my passions, and to redefine what success truly meant. I know that many of you watching may be going through your own struggles right now. Maybe you've lost a job, faced a major life change, or found yourself at a crossroads, unsure of what comes next. I want you to remember this. You are not defined by your job, your title, or your bank account. Your true worth comes from your decisions, your ability to adapt, and how you move forward with confidence, no matter the challenges you face. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let fear or uncertainty hold you back. Embrace the opportunities that come from life's difficult moments. Take control of your future. Follow your passions. And most importantly, trust yourself. You have the power to create a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and truly your own. And if you're wondering where to start, it begins with the small decisions, the ones that may seem insignificant at first but will lead you toward the life you've always wanted. Maybe it's starting that new project, learning a new skill, or taking the time to invest in yourself. Whatever it is, take that first step today. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it might never come. If you found value in this video, if my story has resonated with you in any way, I encourage you to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll join a community of people who are ready to take control of their lives and move forward with purpose. We'll be sharing more stories, tips, and strategies to help you break through your limitations and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a challenge that turned out to be a blessing in disguise? What's the biggest lesson you've learned from a setback in your life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm always here to engage and learn from your experiences as well. So, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the next video. And remember, life isn't about what you've lost, it's about what you choose to do with what you have left. Your future is in your hands, and I believe you can create something incredible with it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into making the most of life's challenges. Stay strong, stay focused, and always keep moving forward.